We're doing our presentation today on death rates with diabetes and heart disease by Robert Rocha.
Rebecca Alvarez.
Sarah Gutierrez.
And Edgar Martinez.
We chose these two states because both were high in diabetes and heart disease. We talk about both diseases, summary statistics, research questions, our hypothesis, the study design, our methods used, 2 sample independent t-tests, and our analysis and results. So in the Texas death rate for heart disease is 178.7, and the diabetes death rate in Texas is 24.2. The population under 18 for Texas is 6,338, and the population over 65 in Texas is 2,279. West Virginia death rate for heart disease is 312.6, and diabetes 46.3. The population under 18 in West Virginia is 386, and the population over 65 for West Virginia is 270. So diabetes has become one of the leading causes of death nationwide. It is estimated that 1 in 100 people develop this illness, and 24 million people in the United States have this disease. There are 2 types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. The risk factors include genetic predisposition, unhealthy eating habits, physical lifestyle, active or sedentary, and excessive weight. Other illnesses that can arise from complications of diabetes are heart disease, stroke, blindness, and kidney damage.
The heart disease or cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death in the United States. It kills more people than any other disease during the other 5 diseases. Cardiac pathologies are the number 1. Its main cause is the high blood pressure, which is called the silent killer because it's often not diagnosticated promptly. Other risk factors include physically inactive people, obesity and being overweight, high cholesterol, and smoking. In this chart, we can see how the diabetes and the heart disease are related in all the states of the United States. It's important to see how some states has the relation between the diabetes and the heart disease. Here we can see how one of the states has a low number of persons with the heart disease and also has a low number of people with the diabetes. Diabetes and heart damage have been linked as a causes of the death worldwide. Not only there are 2 important pathologies, but they are also related to the condition that they generate. It has been proven that diabetes mellitus is likely linked to complications from cardiovascular damage. Diabetes has become a public health problem worldwide, and it has a large complication for cardiovascular disease. Also, Mackenzie states in her books that these diseases include the development of the baby respiratory, cardiovascular, and digestive system. Intensely, it had been linked to problems to live later in the life. In this presentation, we are going to describe the relationship between the diabetes mellitus and the heart damage in the main states of Texas and West Virginia.
As Robert had stated earlier, we had chose both Texas and West Virginia due to their high rates for both diabetes and heart disease. So we came up with the research question that is, what state has the highest death rate for both diabetes and heart disease in either Texas and West Virginia?
Hypothesis. A study was conducted to determine the leading causes of death within the states of West Virginia and Texas, specifically focusing on the death rates of heart disease and diabetes. We believe that there will be one cause of death with higher death rates than the other. Study design. This is an observational study that is focusing on the death rates of heart disease and diabetes within West Virginia and Texas. We are focusing on the population that died due to heart disease and diabetes in both states. Our methods for this study were using statistical analysis. The two sample independent t-test is the method that was used to analyze our data rates. The death rates of diabetes and heart disease of both states were statistically compared. The variables in this study were identified as nominal variables, and they are the rates of the two causes of death being observed, which are heart disease and diabetes.
So for our data, we use the two sample independent t-test. The two sample t-test is a method that is used to test whether the unknown population means of two groups are equal or not. It is used when the data values are independent and are randomly sampled from two normal populations. So for Texas, the mean, we got 101.45, the variance, 11,935.12, and for the observation, we got 2. And for West Virginia, for the mean, we got 179.45. For the variance, we got 35,457.84. And as well for the observation, we got 2. And for the hypothesized mean difference, we got 0. For the t-stat, we got negative 0.50. For the p-value one-tail, we got 0.33. For the t-critical one-tail, we got 2.91. For the p-value two-tail, we got 0.66. And for the t-critical two-tail, we got 44.3.
The analysis of this disease led us in the following discoveries. Texas has a total population of 679.7, and its heart disease index is 178, in which we can see that 26.18% of the population has heart disease, with the diabetes rate of 3.56%, we also can deduce that the population with diabetes is less than the population with the heart failure. West Virginia has a total population of 1,145.4, and its heart disease index is 312.6, which we can see that 27.28% of the population has heart disease. And we can see that the difference between the diabetes in Texas and West Virginia is 0.48%, and in the heart disease in both states, the difference is 1.1%.
For our results, we got the data from the study demonstrated that West Virginia has a higher rate of death for both diabetes and heart disease. Further research as to why this occurred will have to be conducted separately. West Virginia was in the lead in both cause of death categories, while Texas demonstrated lower rates. West Virginia resulted in 312.6 million deaths caused by heart disease and 46.3 million deaths resulting from diabetes from 1145.4 million total population. Texas demonstrated 178.7 million deaths caused by heart disease, 24.2 million deaths and resulting from diabetes from 679.7 million total population.
This was our reference, and with this we finish this presentation about the death in diabetes and the heart disease in the states of Texas and West Virginia. Thank you.